Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So one of my audience members basically pointed me to an article and pretty much said, it just seemed like Ubisoft Massive had spoken in an article about them not having specific plans for the Division 2 game. And, the audience member of mine just concluded that, it's over. We'd probably be lucky if we get anything this year. Now, one of the really interesting things about the way content is presented on the internet is sometimes we could interpret things wrong. And I wanted to take some time to pretty much show a few things that we have confirmation of, and how I'm usually very careful whenever I'm doing any interpretive or speculative video. I usually try my best to point to other things that I think may be concrete in a sense, but at the same time, I always put my disclaimer, which says that I may be 100% wrong in my own particular video or whatever it is that I say. So many of you got to see Epic Slayer's video regarding the new job posting that was posted on Ubisoft Shanghai. This was a video that everybody has been talking about in the community, but just recently the producer of The Division replied to that thread where Epic posted and said, "Hey, I can't speak for the studio that wrote those job postings, but I will caution against interpreting what's written as being reflective of our actual roadmap." So even he is saying, it's okay to just, use caution whenever we're trying to talk about these things. Now, in the community here, we've been talking in the past few days about speculative videos. Some in the community have said, it's kind of in a sense where they're not necessarily too fond of them. And when I think about speculative videos, and to be honest, I've heard this from a developer, is developers actually like these videos. These videos kind of have them watching and seeing how the community is reacting or responding to what it is that they're doing in terms of their own moves, in terms of their announcements or potential announcements. So these videos really do resonate with the devs, even though things may be off or things may be wrong. I think they may be secretly snickering in their offices going, "Oh, I can't believe they think that's what we're going to do," when they probably have something else in mind that they want to do. Or maybe they could be like, "Wow, that's interesting," because, once in a while people may guess something that they're actually working on. So I think this is the nature of things. Well, now to the article that my audience member basically pointed out to me, and I wanted to go ahead and look at that article much carefully. And the article was written about 2 days ago, I think on the 28th, and it says the Division 2 will not receive crossplay, cross progression, or survival mode. Now, I don't think this is something that no one knew of, but this audience member of mine basically thought this was the end game. There was nothing else that the division was going to be doing in terms of that. But the truth is, there are things that still are going to be taking place in the Division 2. This article is just written in a way that makes it seem like nothing is coming. If you get what I mean, it's just an article that's eliminating some of these things that we thought would probably come to the game. But in the sense, it doesn't necessarily give too much details about what the developers are planning, but nonetheless, it mentions them. So let's go ahead and say, and just go through this. It's written by Connor Ellis here in Game Rant, and it says Massive has no plans to give the Division 2 a next gen upgrade. We knew this. Implement cross progression. We knew this. Or add a survival game mode. In fact, we knew this. This is basically how Massive speaks. We have no plans to do this. In fact, survival, I learned very early. There was a Ubisoft community manager of some kind, or community developer, or whatever he was at that time in his role. He used to stream the division and answer questions on stream. He's now moved on to another studio. I think his name was like Antonio or something like that. And I asked him on a live stream, I said, "Are they ever going to bring survival to the Division 2?" And he said the same thing. "Well, we have no plans to bring survival to the Division game." Literally, this is their language. Have no plan. Have no plan. So when they say that, it's usually a no or maybe. Now it says Massive Entertainment's Tom Clancy's Division 2 will see a slew of new content and quality of life updates, but the studio shared some unfortunate news regarding next gen upgrades for future content. While further development of the Division 2 originally concluded with the Season 4 storyline, Massive is now on track to continue supporting the game with new content. However, the studio currently has no plans to give the game next gen upgrade, cross progression, or add survival game. So this is just basically what we already know, but this article, if you read the headline, it can cause a little bit of this impression that something is, amiss in terms of what we've seen so far. So even here on Game Rant, even though Game Rant's opinions about the game are still superficial compared to what the regular agent on the streets knows, it's still worth noting that this is even something that we've known so much that's going to official sources, but the other side of the conversation is actually sitting here within the article itself. Now, this author goes ahead to cite pretty much what a conversation on Twitter, basically yielded about the survival mode. And it says, when asked about the Division 2 series, about where the Division 2 series is headed or what to expect, Massive's creative director Yannick Banchero took to Twitter to dispel any myths. He said the Division 2 is playable on next-gen platforms, but Banchero clarified, that's Yannick, his last name is, Yannick, your last name is hard to say. You gotta teach this stuff. Clarified that the studio has no plans to give the game a next-gen visual upgrade. Furthermore, when discussing how the Division 2 handles character saves, he explains that their databases cannot be transferred over between platforms, and doing so is a huge amount of work. Players also have been wanting an answer on the survival mode will appear, and Yannick claimed that he will consider bringing back survival the day he's 100% confident that they can deliver something better than the original. I guess this originated from a tweet where I think Lieutenant Buzz Lightbear had actually posted something, and a lot of people, liked it. And he said, about 500 likes, he was going to answer, and so he gave this answer. So basically, we may get survival if they can actually come up with a wonderful survival idea. So I guess content creators or whoever it is, you can start mapping out your proposals as to how a survival will be done better than the one from the Division 1. So at the end of the day, we're expecting new content. They say here, as of now, the Division 2 players can expect new content, but not expect the game to take advantage of the power of the next-gen consoles. Man, what are these people even talking about? The next-gen consoles are already giving us the power of the game. I mean, this is the game on PlayStation 5, and if you look at the game on even Xbox or whatever it is, Xbox Series X and Series S, the game's already running at 60 frames per second. Sure, it doesn't have all of the resolution and, maybe little tidbits like ray tracing and all, but honestly, it's not necessary, to be very fair to everything that they've done in the work in terms of the game, which is quite, interesting, isn't it? Like, the game came out on PlayStation 4, and the very first few weeks, it looked very choppy. Like, the Division was so poorly optimized for the PS4. But I think the PS4 was also a weaker device in its own sense, because I think one of the developers said something along the lines of, what they had to deal with when they made the Division 1 was 2013 laptops. It was basically referring to the PlayStation 4 consoles and the Xbox One consoles. And so those consoles limited the amount of, work and the amount of quality that you could get from the game, but still, they should have optimized it better. I'm not saying that it's the console's fault. I'm just saying that the consoles could not render that kind of power. But now we have the PS5s. All they did was just, at PS5s and Xbox Series consoles, all they've done is just unlock those those capabilities, and the game is now running like it's on PC, or just base settings, 60 FPS, nothing crazy. And even still, it's still a very visually appealing game to look at. But nonetheless, I just wanted to go ahead and take some time to clarify that. And I pointed that out because sometimes the speculation can get out of hand. We can interpret things that may not necessarily be what needs to be interpreted. And in regards to new content, we'll get the content when we get it. I understand that, the wait time is insane, but you can't, and I've said this before, we can't mitigate the effects that they've had to deal with in their own, end regarding the, medical issues and all the stuff that happened in 2020 and 2021. We're still having to deal with the, the cascading effects of all of that. So that's where we are. And I know Massive doesn't make things easy either. They keep quiet. They keep people in the dark. But again, it's apparently worked out for them. Maybe, I guess we'll see what the results of that look like. Perhaps when the content comes out, if nobody knows about it at that time because, we've all moved on, or at least if the content comes out and, maybe being quiet was actually the best way to go to, preserve hype and preserve the mystery in order for people to still, pay attention, at least at the end of the day. But that's pretty much it for me. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Thank you so much for watching the video, and hopefully we'll talk in another video. Appreciate y'all so much. Peace out.